Controversial fact: Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson's dressing room incident causes a storm. In the entertainment world, sometimes a slightly ajar door can cause more uproar than an official press conference. And the dressing room incident involving Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson has become a prime example of how vague information can be blown out of proportion, distorted, and turned into a public storm in just a few hours. 1. The origin of a rumor. It all started on what seemed like an ordinary afternoon on set. It was the last day of reshoots for a major film project, in which Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson were both participating. No red carpet, no long lines of paparazzi. Just the exhausted technical crew, prop trucks, and makeshift dressing rooms behind the set. A production assistant posted a short status update on social media. Behind the scenes today was certainly full of surprises. No names, no details. But just minutes later, a blurry photo of the dressing room hallway leaked. In the photo, two doors were closed side by side, with several crew members talking urgently in front. No one saw Jamie or Dakota. No suspicious activity, but the internet never needed more than that. 2. When social media writes its own story. Within an hour, the photo was shared thousands of times. Comments started popping up. What's going on? Why do the crew look so tense? Are Jamie and Dakota involved in another drama? From harmless questions, speculation began to escalate. An anonymous account claimed, "I heard there was an incident in the private dressing room." No evidence, no source, but enough to create a headline. Tabloid news sites quickly jumped in. They didn't lie outright, they just used vague phrases. According to behind-the-scenes sources. Allegedly. Rumoredly. Circulating online. That's all it took for the story to be given a seemingly credible veneer. 3. The ghost of the 50 Shades past. It's undeniable that their collaboration in the 50 Shades series made rumors about Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson more likely to explode than usual. They were scrutinized for every glance and gesture during film promotions. Therefore, when the phrase private dressing room appeared, the public's imagination was immediately drawn in a sensitive direction. Things that never actually happened were depicted in terrifying detail in posts, comments, and even analytical videos on YouTube. At this point, the truth almost became less important than whether the story was shocking enough. 4. The misunderstood silence. For the first 24 hours, neither Jamie Dornan nor Dakota Johnson spoke out. To them, it was just an unfounded rumor, the kind that appears and then quickly fades away. But that very silence became proof in the eyes of the public. If there's nothing to it, why don't they deny it? Is this silence an attempt to avoid the issue? Few realize that artists sometimes choose silence not because they're at fault, but because they understand that a hasty response only prolongs the rumor. 5. When incidents are invented from the smallest details. Some online witnesses began recounting unverified stories. Some claimed to have seen staff quickly changing dressing rooms. Some claimed filming was interrupted for 20 minutes. Some even insisted that the managers of the two actors had argued. No one provided clear images, videos, or official confirmation, but each different account was like a distorted puzzle piece, pieced together to form a dramatic picture. The incident, if it happened, was no longer a technical issue or behind-the-scenes misunderstanding, but had become a shocking secret. 6. Mainstream media get involved. As the spread spiraled out of control, some major newspapers began reporting more cautiously. They questioned the source of the rumor, emphasizing that there was no confirmation from the production team. However, the headlines were still compelling. The truth about Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson's dressroom incident that's taking social media by storm. Even the negative articles inadvertently fueled the story. 7. A late explanation. 3 days later, the project's media representative finally spoke out. The brief statement read, There were no personal incidents or sensitive situations involving Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson. The dressing room adjustments on the final day of filming stemmed from technical and scheduling reasons. No drama, no secrets, just a simple logistical issue. But by now, the storm had gone too far. 8. What did the public believe? Sadly, the official explanation didn't receive the same level of attention as the initial rumors. Many skimmed through it, even expressing skepticism. Statements always look good. They have to say that. The truth, however obvious, became less appealing than the imagined scenario. 9. The invisible pressure on those involved. Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson, they continued to appear in other projects, but the repercussions of the story lingered for a long time. In subsequent interviews, seemingly harmless questions concealed curiosity about their private lives and behind-the-scenes details. No one suffered legal harm, but personal image recovery is not so easy. 10. What is the real controversial truth? Ultimately, the controversial truth isn't in the dressing room. It lies elsewhere. A vague photo can be used to successfully resolve a scandal. Social media speculates it into collective truth. And people believe the more appealing story than the true one. The dressing room incident involving Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson, judged similarly, is simply a reflection of modern society, where the line between information and misinformation is increasingly blurred. 11. After the storm. Then, like every storm, the narrative gradually gave way to new noise. Posts that had been shared like wildfire scrolled down the timeline. Only one quiet lesson remained. In an age where anyone can be a source of information, the truth isn't always the fastest thing to spread.